Study Session 7. Levels of Reading. Introduction. Fingers are not equal is a commonsensical saying. Different readers or learners to read operate at different levels of reading, sometimes generally, sometimes with reference to a given text or a specific field of study. There are 3 levels at which a reader may be reading. It is important to identify the level at which a reader or learner is reading. It is also important to know the criterion for text selection and recommendation. If a text is far below the level of a reader, it will make reading unexciting and unchallenging. If it is far above, it will make reading frustrating. Learning outcomes. When you've studied this session, you should be able to 1. Explain the levels of reading. 2. Determine a person's reading level. Levels of reading. In this unit, you will be exposed to the various levels of reading, which you should be able to understand and explain. The levels of readings. There are 3 possible levels at which a reader or learner to read may be operating. These levels are not permanently fixed. When texts change, reading levels will most likely change too. In some cases, when content areas change too, reading levels also change. The 3 levels are discussed below. The independent level. As a reader, if you operate at the independent level, you need no help from the teacher or instructor or parent before you're able to read not only literally, but also critically and in between the lines. You are able to read the given text for the right purpose, that is, for pleasure or for study, at the right speed and with minimal or no use of dictionaries or other reference books. It is important not to keep you as a reader on only comfortable text all the time. Doing this is capable of giving you a false feeling of perfection. Readers, especially students, should keep moving from simple to complex and not stay on the simple alone. The instructional level. As an instructional reader, you are able to read only with the assistance of a teacher or instructor. Without the teacher's systematic guidance, you cannot make any progress. Such assistance can be linguistic or expression related. This has to do with helping you to untangle whatever appears to you as the linguistic intricacies of the text that hinder your understanding and proper response. The assistance can also be in the form of explaining the basic principles of formula that guided the author's progression. Example, in an experiment or in solving a mathematical problem. And conclusion. Sometimes, for instance, in literary studies, the assistance you need is just with historical or biographical background to a particular text. For example, if you have a good grasp of the history, meaning and purpose of the negritude movement, you will need little or no assistance in studying and enjoying the poems of, say, Birago Diop, David Diop, Lenry Peter, or Leopold Sedar Senghor. If you're familiar with the plight of black immigrants in United Kingdom, your study of Soyinka's poem, Telephone Conversation, will most probably be accompanied by high sighs or a hilarious laughter. The frustration level. At the frustration level, you as a reader are totally unable to read, no matter the assistant. The text is just too difficult for you, and neither dictionaries or reference books nor the teacher can help. To continue to wallop you with instructions based on the same frustrating text will in fact create further frustration. The most important thing is to first identify the cause of the frustration. Frustration arises when a text is too difficult. To solve the problem, the most logical thing is to select a less difficult text. This may call for selecting beginner's text or primers in the content area. Some reading disabilities also cause frustration. In this case, a thorough diagnosis is necessary. CLA 305 a course you will take later in the course of your study, deals mainly with this. It is important to state 2 points at this juncture. 1. Reading at the frustration level is not an automatic index of failure. 2. Just anybody can read at the frustration level. A student of the Department of Communication and Language Arts should read an English novel independently, but he or she most probably will read Holderness and Lambert's popular text on chemistry as a frustrated reader. Determining a person's reading level. There are a number of ways by which a person's reading level can be determined. Some of them are through closed tests, maze tests, informal reading inventory, informal observation, surveys, diagnostic tests, Arua and Onukaogu, 1997. 2 of these will be discussed here. They are the closed test and the maze test. 1. The closed test. It is a test in which words are deleted from a selected passage at a regular interval, and the testee is asked to supply the missing words. The testee is not given any options from which to select. To construct a closed test, follow the steps discussed below. Arua and Onukaogu, 1997. 1. Select a passage of about 250 running words that the testee are not likely to have come across before. 2. Leave the title and the first sentence of the passage intact. 3. Delete every 5th word beginning from the second sentence, including contractions, hyphenations, and numerals. In some other sentences, delete the 7th, 9th, or the 11th word. The fewer the number of words in between the deletions, the more difficult the test. 4. For each deletion, leave from 10 to 15 character spaces. The passage should be double or triple spaced. 5. Accept as correct responses only those items that are exactly the same as those originally deleted. Some test experts accept synonyms as correct responses if they are grammatically correct when placed in the gaps. 6. Sometimes it is good to allow students to attempt 3 or 4 closed tests from the same textbook before concluding on the appropriateness of such text for them. Interpreting class scores. Test experts differ on how to interpret scores from a class test to determine a person's reading level. The views of some of them, as cited by Arua and Onukaogu, 1997, are tabulated here. From the table above, we can see that if a testee scored 50% and above in a class test, he or she is an independent reader, according to Beaumont, 1967. If he or she scored between 38 and 49, he or she is an instructional reader. If he or she scores less than 37%, he or she is a frustrated reader. 2. The maze test. The maze test is close to the clause test. The main difference is that for a maze test, the testees are given options. The choices include the deleted word and 3 or 4 other words. Senior School Certificate Examination, SSCE, English uses maze tests in examining students' knowledge of registers. According to Arua and Onukaogu, 1997, the scores of a maze test are interpreted thus. A candidate is independent if he or she scores 85% and above. Instructional if he or she scores between 51 to 75%. And is at the frustration level if he or she scores 50% or less.